Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to share with you the 5 most common questions that I get asked. Number 5, what do you do for a living? Well, I used to be a bricklayer, fully qualified bricklayer, award-winning bricklayer, the 3rd best bricklayer in the country actually, years ago. And I retired from bricklaying quite a few years ago. It's just such a physical job, it's going to destroy your body. There's a few people that get off lightly, but yeah, I'm a bricklayer by trade, and now I'm a full-time property developer. Now the reason I get asked that question a lot is because I drive a Lamborghini, or sometimes I'm in my Hellcat, and people are curious as to what I do to be able to earn that money. Now, as a bricklayer, I wouldn't have been driving around in a Lamborghini. Ford Transit, I had a Ford Transit pretty much for 30 years. As a property developer, I earn a lot more money, big chunky lump sums of money, and even just building 1 or 2 houses allows me to afford cars, supercars like a Lamborghini. So that's probably one of the most popular questions I get asked. Number 4, can I become a developer without any experience? Now, I get asked this a lot. I train people and I'm a mentor to people to help them become a property developer. And it's the experience one that I get asked a lot. And the answer to that is yes, you can. Now, the reason you can become a property developer without any experience is because of the leverage. We are leveraging the professionals, whether that's your architect, your planning consultant, your solicitor, your broker who brings in the money, your estate agent who sells the properties, down to your builders, whether that's a main contractor or your project manager, your bricklayers, carpenters, etc., etc. Now, all that team of people will collaborate and follow a set of plans that's been drawn up by your architect. So you can do this without experience. Obviously, it helps, but it's just a system to follow. I break it down into 8 steps. It's called a property developer's blueprint system. And it's just an 8-step system to follow. Everything from finding the land, appraising the site, getting it funded, getting it through planning and getting it built. And I've got a lot of people on my Property Developers Academy that are going on to do developments without any experience. And I would probably say it's about 60% haven't got experience and 40% have got experience. And what I mean by that experience, I'm probably talking about people who are in construction, have got some idea of how to build a house. Maybe they're building extensions for customers at the moment. But yeah, it's probably 60% of people with 0 experience. I've got school teachers, I've got business owners, I've got policemen, just everyday people that are going out there now doing their first developments. So yeah, you can definitely do this without experience. Number 3, how do we find our land to build on? We do multiple ways of doing it, but the most common are Rightmove. So we look on Rightmove quite often. We'll see what's coming up, what gets reduced, maybe what comes back on the market. Maybe if it's a bit of land with a few challenges, we'll probably see if we can address those challenges like land contamination, archaeology. So Rightmove's a popular one. We'll probably buy the majority off Rightmove. We have a few relationships with some agents, so the agents will then bring us some deals when it comes to them, so before it comes to the market. And then another main strategy that we use is direct to vendor, where we write letters to targeted pieces of land. We try and get in touch with the vendor. We arrange a meeting, talk about buying the land, then we agree to take it through planning, pay them a certain amount of money. And that's a great way because those properties or those bits of land are not on the market. So you can manage to get to those before they get overpriced by the agent. So that's our 3 main strategies. There's loads more like architects, plot finder, plot browser's another one. Lots of different ways to find land, but we sort of tend to specialise in 3 ways and become good in those areas. But there are 3 most common ones. Number 2, what is my number 1 tip for success? I get asked that a lot. People say to me, look, if you could just say one piece of information, one piece of advice, what would it be? And it's discipline. Whether you want to become the fittest in a sport, you want to become the richest, you want to become the most knowledgeable, it's down to discipline. And this quote over here says, you either suffer the pain of discipline or you suffer the pain of regret. And discipline is what I think is the number 1 answer to success. Because if you're disciplined and you commit, you don't make excuses, you don't let yourself off when the crap stuff needs doing, you're more likely to succeed. And I've seen it time and time again from so many people that have started something and failed, and I've seen it where people have started stuff and succeeded. And I'm pretty sure it's all down to discipline and going through that tough time, persisting with their dreams, persisting with their goals, never giving up. That comes down to discipline. My number 1 question I get asked most is, what advice would I give to my younger self? And that's quite simple. It would be to learn a strategy that is going to pay you like life-changing money and that you're happy in. So happiness has got to be included in it. It's not just about the money. But my dad was a postman, trading his time for money. He was never going to have money. He was never going to have spare money. He was never going to have a lifestyle. He was never going to have freedom. That was just a job, just over broke. He'd pay his bills, maybe have 1 or 2 holidays a year, drive a half decent okay car, retire at 65, and be left with a little tiny bit of money after the tax man had took their big chunk. Since I've stopped, trading my time for money and being that busy builder and gone on to property development, I've hung around with a lot of successful people, and it all just seems so obvious now. You cannot get wealthy from doing a job that doesn't pay the wealth. It's as simple as that. It does sound simple now, I know. But why do we spend 4 years going to university to maybe learn to be a structural engineer, and a structural engineer is going to be on £50,000-60,000 a year, and that's it? You cannot really earn any more than that unless you are the business owner. What comes with that is the risks, the responsibility, the stress. But you've really got to learn a strategy that is going to get you to where you want to be. Now, that is ultimately going to be a business owner. There's not going to be many employed people that are going to really get to where they want to be, because their holidays are controlled, their pay is controlled, when they retire is pretty much going to be controlled. So the best thing really is to learn a strategy that is going to pay you lots of money. Now, the internet and YouTube, just like this, is full of amazing information. Like when I was younger, I never had all this information at my fingertips. Certainly not for free, and I didn't have mentors. The knowledge is out there to build a business to whatever you want to do, however big you want to go. We can travel now and run our businesses, from phones and laptops. So we've got a mobile lifestyle now that we never used to have. You used to have to go and speak to people from a phone box. You used to have to ring from the phone box and actually go and trade, visit them and go and look at jobs and then go and hand deliver the quotes or put them in the post. Now we can just email people and WhatsApp and message them. So the world's changed, but the number one rule hasn't. You've got to find a business or a strategy that can provide you the wealth to give you the freedom that you really want. So I hope you found those 5 tips really useful. If you have, please like and subscribe to the channel. Got lots of more content coming up over the next few months. Loads of more this sort of stuff if you like this sort of stuff. Loads of tips and advice. And we'll see you on the next video very soon.